So what we have here is offensive positioning. Go ahead and start it here. Okay, so first we have the throw in, right? So the throw in comes up. Um, Player makes a good, collection of the ball, gets the ball back to their feet, starts to make their run. In this case, what we have as well is this is where the offensive position is out of place. So here we have our wing, right? Our wing is way behind the play, right? The wing itself should be up here into this open space so that it's giving our forward the option to make a pass. And since the wing is out of position, the forward has no opportunities, is being challenged, and will be challenged again by the next player. And we also have our midfielder here. So we have our midfielder again, that's up on the other side of the wing. And our wing should be up here in the play, and the midfielder should be back into open space, waiting for a pass. We have our other midfielder, which is also trailing the play, which should be into open space, giving them options for a drop back and then pass forward. And as you can see here, player goes and tries to take a shot off balance and goes straight to the goalie. All right, so for this play here, it's also another offensive positioning. Goalie had possession of the ball after collecting it in their hands, and then the goalie puts the ball back on the ground. So at this point, once the goalie put the ball on the ground, it becomes a live ball. This is not a goal kick. This is the goalie placing the ball on the ground, probably an error, not knowing what was going on. And our forward does recognize the play, starts to challenge the ball. Our wing is too far behind the play, leaving the two defenders open for the goalie to get rid of the ball quickly. So the goalie gets rid of the ball quickly, which is good, and then makes the play to the center. So again, this player is wide open because our midfielder has decided to crash down on the play, leaving the midfield exposed and leaving the player wide open in the middle of the field. And again, the midfielder position, they do play offense, they do play defense, but they are responsible for the middle of the field. So they are responsible pretty much from the penalty box to the other penalty box. That is their place to play in the field. Not only that, but we have our defender way up the field, leaving two players on the outside. We have our other midfielder here that's just into open space by himself, watching the play, not going over to recognize that they need to play defense over on the far side. As you can see here, flex the ball, makes a great pass to another player. We make a great challenge, we win the ball back, and then we do make a great attempt at trying to score. So had the pass been just a little bit more inside, we would have had probably a scoring opportunity of our own. Good idea for the player to recognize the play. The ball just needs to be played a little bit away from the defenders. Okay, so what we have again here is we're going to go over midfielder positioning as well as taking time and space. So we're going to start with our midfielder having the ball. In this case, it'd be a little bit better for our wing to be out into this open space here. It would have given the midfielder just a little bit more space here to pass the ball and giving the wing a little bit more time to collect the ball. So we'll let it play here. The midfielder makes the pass, but it was just a little too fast, which again, a field like this is going to make the ball roll a lot more. It's going to be a lot quicker, and it's just going to be harder to control. So what we have here now is our wing is having to go and challenge for the ball, right? I'm going to pause it there. And what that shows is after that play, our midfielder here is watching the play. White has already identified that, hey, I'm all alone. Nobody's covering me. So what we should have two things happening. We should have our midfielders covering the middle of the field. We should have this midfielder here recognizing this player is open, and we should have our other midfielder on the other side of the field recognizing that this player is open. Neither one of them moves to the correct position. Not only that, but our midfielder now runs away from the player. Our other midfielder does not recognize the other open player and run to him to protect. Now we have two open players in the middle of the field. We have our far outside defender again, who's pushed over to wide, leaving this whole side exposed. And player makes a very bad pass, and then we just don't take our time and space and just decide to kick it away. So as you can see here, this is what we talk about time and space. This player did not need to just bash the ball down the field. Again, when we do that, what we normally do is just give it right back to the other team. We don't create any kind of opportunity for ourselves. All we do is put ourselves back in a bad position and have to defend the attack once again. So this player, had they taken a touch on the ball, had all this free space to make a couple touches, which would have drawn in more white players, and then could have made a better pass, to one of our offensive players making a run. And instead, we just bash it down the field. White collects the ball back. As you can see here, this is what moving to space means. So even though this player ends up falling down, you can see here that they're starting to recognize that they're moving to open space. They're calling for the ball. Had he not fallen down, that would have been a really great another opportunity for them. And again, we have a player here in the middle of the field that has nobody protecting him. All right, so number 14 here. So this play here, again, taking time and space. What you're going to see is we're going to see the kickoff. So what we have here is our forward, as we do our kickoffs, decides, what we always do is, we kick it back to a player here. What we have as well is we have our midfielder up on the line, which they should be back again in this space here, giving them an option to pass it out wide. Our other midfielder, which is not on the screen, which is on the screen, which is the player here, takes the kick. So when we kick the ball back, what the player ends up doing is not taking all this time and space that they get. They just decide that once the ball comes to them, they're going to kick it straight down the field. See here, so we get the kickoff, and all they do is kick it right back down the field. Now I understand probably what they're thinking is I'm making the pass back right up to the player, but by taking this time and space, so if they had taken a touch on the ball and taking their time and space into here, it would have drawn at least this defender into them. It would have given us time to find more open space. And let's see our results as we just turn the ball right back over to white. We make a great challenge on the ball. We end up getting it back. We make a great pass to the outside. And then just, we make a wide shot. So got cleaned up pretty well. The play ended up going in our favor due to the bad touch by white. But again, taking time and space would have allowed us to have a better scoring opportunity and just, turning over the ball. Right, so just a couple things with this here. So what we have is just, keeping our head up and making, the correct play. So in this case, the player is going to collect the ball, and then the correct play is going to be a short pass, into this open space for our running offensive forward. But since the player is more focused on the ball, not keeping their head up, which in this play it's happening pretty quickly, but had they recognized the play in the space, again, we would have had a better scoring opportunity with just a simple pass into this open space here, either for our wing to come in or even our forward to come in to take up an optional goal. In this case, what happens is the player tries to win a one-on-one, ends up losing the ball. And now the players are on the move with a scoring opportunity. Okay, so this is an opportunity where we can recognize and using the drop pass as well as, creating a quick pass again. So what we have here is players, collects the ball, which is good. Makes a great challenge on the ball, gets the play to our offensive player. Our player here is more focused on the ball and not on where the pass can be made. So in this case, If the player would have been aware of where the players were on the field, this quick pass back into our wing would have created a wide open scoring opportunity, or at least a challenge to get a score. Instead, the player, is focused on the ball, still focused on the ball, not realizing where the players are. Again, we have our midfielder even in front of our wing when our midfielder should be back into this space behind the play. Player continues to go to the sideline, which is good, goes to the corner. But what this should be drawing in is a couple different things. So as that player, which is our forward, goes out wide, the wing that's supposed to be on this side should be taking the forward position. So in this case, what we should have is the wing moving up into the forward open space, the midfielder moving into this open space, so the pass would not have to be past the defenders. And then our offensive player, which is our other wing, making a great run where they should be to the post. So here we take a kick. Fortunately, the kick just goes out of bounds, not giving us an opportunity to have a scoring opportunity. Okay, so getting near the end here. So we have is moving to open space and then offsides awareness. So our throw in, we take the throw in. Again, in this case, kicking the ball to kick the ball isn't the worst opportunity, just because they are being challenged by another player. But as you can see, what happens is it just results in a play for them. Their play ends up in a bash back to us. Our wing makes a great one-touch pass back into the middle. And here what we have is the player that should be playing the wing position is back in the midfielder position. Does have a great opportunity to make a pass on the ball if our forward would make a run out to this space here, which they do continue to run out to the space. The player then gets challenged for the ball, runs into another player. That player did eventually make a great play, but as you can see here, all three of our offensive players, our forward, our midfielder, which again is on the wrong side of the wing, are all three offsides. So offsides, as you can see, here are their last defenders. This is their very last defender, and all three of our players have not recognized that they're up beyond that player. So any touch of the ball by any one of these three players will result in an offsides call. And we'll see here, player does not make a good touch on the ball, but it would have been offsides anyway, and never would have resulted in a scoring opportunity. All right, so for the last play here, things start really good. So we have really good movement, moving the ball really well, and then just not being able to keep that good movement going, and things just start to break down near the end. So as you can see here, I'm just gonna let it run. Player does a great job here of tracking the ball. So we talk about this in practice as well, is when the ball is in the air, either from a goal kick or being kicked high up into the air by another player, you want to track that ball and be in the place where it is going to drop. So in this case, the player makes a great placement. So finds the space on the ground where that ball is going to come down and makes a great play on the ball to keep it near himself or on his feet. So here we make a great challenge. This is the great movement. We move the ball out to the wing. We do a great pass back, great. We have a great drop. In this case here, when the player is dropping back to our open player, what this player here should have done, which should have moved into the open space to the ball. Instead, player stands still. As you can see here, waits for the pass, resulting in allowing this player here to come and challenge. So had this player not sat and waited for the ball to get all the way to him and would have come into the ball, not only would their momentum be taking them forward to give them another pass opportunity forward into the field, they decide to stay still, try to collect the ball, and results in a turnover for them. So again, in here, what we have is we have our center back being drawn out into the play. And our outside defender not recognizing that there's nobody here to cover. What I should be doing is moving into the center back position in order to cover that because both players now are being drawn out to the outside. As you can see, the player there just continues forward. There's nobody here to protect. And the ball ends up going up. So I know this game was challenging, but these are the type of games we're going to play. Be prepared for them. These are the things that we need to work on. If you recognizing the plays here, you start trying to get better at what you're seeing, you start recognizing the plays on the field, things will improve. So I hope you take everything that you see here just to heart. Again, I'm not trying to point anybody out, but anybody can learn for anybody by anybody's positioning errors or just by scanning the field in general.